Hello students, I am Ruchika from English Academy. Today we will study this chapter for students of class 9th, The Sound of Music. Now this chapter is divided into two parts. Part 1 is Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Now let us discuss the title. The title itself is very interesting. Here the author says, Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Now, we all wonder, we are confused. How can you listen to sound when you can't hear? So this is something that we will discover, how Evelyn Glennie was able to listen to sound although she could not hear. Now before we proceed with the chapter, let us read this. God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. Someone has commented this thing about Evelyn. He says that although God took away her hearing power, she was impaired, but he gave her an extraordinary thing, and that was the sense of feeling. She could feel very deeply, far more deeply than the normal people. And that is why she was able to express music so beautifully, so well. She is a well-known multi-percussionist. She plays different percussion instruments like xylophone, drums. Now we read the following account of a person who fought against a physical disability and made her life a success story. From here we come to know the theme of this story and the message that we get from this story. The story of Evelyn Glennie is a motivational story. It inspires all of us to overcome our physical disabilities and achieve our dreams and goals just like Evelyn did. So with this, let us begin with the lesson. Rush hour, crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl, looking younger than her 17 years, was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. Jostle means to push roughly. Slight means small and thin. So the scene is the train platform. It is underground and there is a huge rush at the platform. There is a huge crowd and people are pushing each other to get way. There is a small thin girl. And who is this girl? It is Evelyn. Evelyn is standing at the railway platform. She is waiting for the train. And just as she feels the vibrations of the approaching train, she realizes that the train is about to come. She gets nervous and excited. Now this is the train that will take Evelyn to London. And she is going to London to learn music as she has got admission in the Royal Academy of Music. Right now, Evelyn is in Scotland. Evelyn belongs to Scotland. Scotland is a country in Europe. Now Scotland is not as fast as London. London has a very fast life. It is urban, whereas Scotland has farms and countryside. So that is why Evelyn is nervous because she is leaving Scotland for London. And she is also excited. Now why is she excited? Because she is doing something that she has always dreamt of. She is going to the Royal Academy of Music to learn music. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. Daunting means frightening, scary. Teenager means a person who is in his teens, like here, Evelyn is 17 years of age, she is a teenager. And she is fresh from a Scottish farm. Just now I told you that Evelyn belongs to Scotland. Scotland has more of farms and countryside, and so she has not seen a fast life. That is why she is nervous. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. Profoundly deaf here means she was absolutely deaf. She could not hear. And this was a bigger challenge for her. Moving from a rural area to a fast life was a smaller challenge But Evelyn faced a much bigger challenge in front of her, that was her loss of hearing. She could not hear. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Gradual means in phases. Slowly, she started losing this power of hearing, and one day she was absolutely deaf. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. Now, Isabel Glennie is the name of Evelyn's mother. Evelyn's mother, Isabel, recollects one incident when Evelyn was 8 years old. She says that Evelyn was waiting for her turn to play the piano, but when her name was called out, she did not respond. And her mother, Isabel, realized that Evelyn did not respond to her name. That means she did not hear her name being called out. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. Conceal means to hide. Now, as Evelyn lost her sense of hearing in phases, it was a gradual process. In the beginning, when she could hear partially, she managed to hide this disability from her friends and teachers. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. Specialist is a doctor, but by the time Evelyn was 11 years old, her marks had deteriorated. Deteriorated means worsened, reduced, and her headmistress urged. Urged means requested. The headmistress requested her parents to take Evelyn to a doctor. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. Impaired means weakened. When the doctor checked upon Evelyn, he found out that Evelyn had lost the sense of hearing. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. Now, the doctor advised Evelyn's parents that they should get hearing aids for her. Hearing aids is an equipment that is fitted into your ear and it helps the person to hear to some extent. And he also suggested that Evelyn should be sent to a school for the deaf children. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. Now, when Evelyn discovered that she could not hear, she would be sent to a school for deaf children. She was not as good as normal children. Her world became colorless. It turned black. Now, what does this mean? Everything suddenly looked black? It means that all of a sudden you get such a bad news, you get some news that you don't expect, and in return you see blackness all around you. That is how Evelyn responded to this news. But Evelyn was not going to give up. This shows Evelyn had determination. Although Evelyn got such a shocking news, still she was determined. She did not want to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. Pursue means to follow. As Evelyn was passionate about music, this news also did not break her. She was determined to live life like normal people and follow her interest in music. One day she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. Xylophone is a musical instrument with a row of wooden bars of different lengths. Here you can see this is the image of a xylophone. Now, when Evelyn saw a girl playing the xylophone, she also wanted to play it. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. Percussionist is a person who plays the drum, the tabla, etc. A person who plays different musical instruments. Famous percussionist Ron Forbes. Now, on one hand, Evelyn's teachers discouraged her because they knew that she could not hear and hearing was an important part of music. But Ron Forbes saw that Evelyn was very passionate about music and so he decided something. He began by tuning two large drums to different notes. Ron Forbes thought that he would teach Evelyn to feel music. So what did he do? He took two large drums and he tuned them to different notes. Now what does this mean? He took two large drums. Drums are musical instruments. And he tuned them. He tuned each drum to different notes so that sound produced by the drum was different. So it was distinct. Both the drums made different sounds. Then he told to Evelyn, "Don't listen through your ears," he would say. "Try to sense it some other way." Now what did Ron say to Evelyn? He said that don't try to listen to music through your ears. He said that try to sense it. Try to feel the music some other way. Says Evelyn, "Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down." Now as Ron had tuned both the drums to different notes, Evelyn says that the drum which made higher notes, she could feel those higher notes from the waist up. So waist, the middle of your body is called the waist. The upper part of Evelyn's body, above the waist, could feel the higher notes of the drum. And the lower part of her body, the part down from the waist, that could feel the lower notes of the drum. Forbes repeated the exercise and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. So this is how Evelyn can listen to sound although she cannot hear. She can sense different notes in different parts of her body. Evelyn says, "I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work." So Ron Forbes taught Evelyn to respond to different sounds. Different parts of Evelyn's body responded to different sounds, and that is how she could make out, she could identify the sounds and the different vibrations. Now once she could identify the sounds and vibrations, the hurdle had been overcome and Evelyn's career went upward because she had determination to become a famous and a good musician, and she did a lot of hard work. She never looked back from that point onwards. Once Evelyn overcame her challenge, she started sensing the different sounds through her different parts of the body. She progressed in her career. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. Youth means young people, people like who are in college or high school. Orchestra is a group of musicians. So Evelyn made a tour. She toured means she traveled the United Kingdom and she performed with a youth orchestra. And by the time Evelyn reached the age of 16 years, she had decided to make music her life. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. Audition means gave a short performance so that the director could decide whether she was good enough. Just like we sit for an exam and then we get marks to qualify for admission, similarly, if you want an admission into a music institute, you have to give an audition. Audition is kind of a performance. It is a short performance, and once the director sees the performance, he can decide how well you have performed, and on the basis of that, they give you admission into the institute. So Evelyn also gave an audition for the admission to the Royal Academy of Music, and her score was the highest in the history of the Academy. No other person had scored such a good score as Evelyn. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. Orchestral work means group performance, performing in a group of musicians, and solo means to perform single, alone. So initially Evelyn performed in a group, but as she got well in her music, as she got confident, she started performing alone. At the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. Captured means she had achieved all the top awards by the time she had completed her 3-year course at the Royal Academy of Music. And for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If anyone says that Evelyn has done something great, she does not acknowledge that. She is very humble and down to earth. Evelyn says if you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. Evelyn says that two important things for success are firstly, hard work, and secondly, aim or goal. So she says that if you work hard and you have an aim, you have a target which you have to achieve, then you will definitely achieve it. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought after multi-percussionist with a mastery of some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. So Evelyn also did that. She worked hard and she had an aim to become the topmost, the most famous, the most sought after musician of the world, and she did that. She gained mastery of almost 1,000 musical instruments and she was the most sought after. Most sought after means most popular, in demand, multi-percussionist of the world. She had a very busy schedule. She had programs and concerts all over the world. It is intriguing to watch Evelyn function so effortlessly without hearing. Intriguing means fascinating and curious. When you watch Evelyn perform so effortlessly, although she does not hear, you get very curious. Because Evelyn can identify the slightest, the minutest of sounds made by the musical instruments. In our 2-hour discussion, she never missed a word. Now the writer Deborah Cowley had an interview with Evelyn which lasted for 2 hours, and Deborah says that Evelyn never missed a word that she spoke. Men with bushy beards give me trouble, she laughed. Now Evelyn says that those men who have long, huge, bushy beards, they give her trouble. Why do they give her trouble? Because she cannot see their lip movement when they speak because their lips are covered with the bushy beards. So Evelyn says that those men who have bushy beards give her trouble. Further, she says it is not just watching the lips, it's the whole face, especially the eyes. Evelyn says that she just not sees the lip movement of the person's face to make out what the person is speaking. She says the whole face, that means the entire expression of the face of the speaker makes Evelyn identify or know what the person is saying. And she says especially the eyes. Especially the expressions of the eyes help Evelyn make out what the person sitting in front of her is saying. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. Flawlessly means without a fault or mistake. Lilt is a way of speaking, like we say accent. So the writer says that Evelyn's speech is flawless and she has a Scottish accent. As she belongs to Scotland, her language has that accent. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. Evelyn says that her speech is clear because she had learned the language. She had studied till the age of 11 till she could hear, and so her speech is clear. But that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. But still, after becoming deaf, Evelyn has also learned 2 new languages. She has learned French and basic Japanese. So one wonders that how could she learn these 2 languages also? As for music, she explains, it pours in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. So here Evelyn explains that how does she identify music? Tingles means it causes a pricking or stinging sensation. She says that how does she feel the music? It creates sensation in her skin, in her cheekbones, and even in her hair. So every part of Evelyn's body responds to music. When she plays the xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. Now when she plays the xylophone, she uses sticks and she can sense the vibrations of the music, vibrations of the sound produced by the xylophone pass through the stick into her fingertips. By leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonances flowing into her body. Resonances means the echoes of sound. When Evelyn plays the drum, she leans towards the drum and she can feel the echoes flowing into her body. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibrations pass through her bare feet and up her legs. Whenever Evelyn performs, she performs on a wooden platform, on a wooden floor. And she removes her shoes so that she can feel the vibrations of the musical instruments pass through the floor, through her feet and up her legs. That is how she can feel the sounds of the musical instruments. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delights her audiences. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award. Now, Evelyn is a delight to hear. She gives very good solo performances. In the year 1991, she was presented with this award, the Royal Philharmonic Society's Soloist of the Year award for performing solo. Says master percussionist James Blades, God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. Now, James Blades, he is a master percussionist, and his words were the ones that we have read when we had started the chapter. Before we started reading the chapter, we read these lines. So these were said by James Blades, who was a master percussionist. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. Workaholic is a person who finds it difficult to stop working. So Evelyn is very hardworking. She does not stop working. I've just got to work, often harder than classical musicians. Now, to get at par with those people who can hear, who are classical musicians, Evelyn works very hard. But the rewards are enormous. Enormous means big. Evelyn says that the rewards that she gets in return for her hard work are huge, are big. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. Now, Evelyn does charity also. She gives free concerts in hospitals and prisons. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians. She also holds classes for young musicians, for those children who want to learn music. Anne Richlin of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. So Evelyn is an inspiration for all. She is an ideal. Now this lady Anne Richlin, who belongs to the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children, says that Evelyn is an inspiration for those children who cannot hear. And when they get to know Evelyn's story, they feel that they can accomplish everything. They can accomplish all their dreams. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. Accomplished here means achieved. So Evelyn Glennie has achieved so much in life that those people who are double her age have also not achieved those many things, that much popularity, those many awards as Evelyn has done. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. Orchestra is a group of people who are playing different musical instruments, and generally the percussion instruments like the drum and the xylophone are placed at the back end of the orchestra, or they are placed at the side. But as Evelyn performs solo, she gives special performances with these percussion instruments. The percussion instruments have come in the front of the orchestra. Now, as Evelyn performs solo, she plays the percussion instruments and she plays them so well that one wonders that these instruments can also make such fine music and they can be so moving. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped. Evelyn's story is an inspiration for those people who are physically disabled, people who look to her and say, if she can do it, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. So Evelyn is an inspiration for those people who are disabled, They feel that if Evelyn can achieve her dreams, then even they can. And Evelyn has also given a lot of pleasure by playing such a good music. So with this we come to an end of part 1 of this chapter. Thank you.